Principle of accountability, fairness, and transparency in business. Organizational moral capacity and performance are influenced by business leadership. The range and quality of ethics programs, as well as the integration of ethics into the organizational activity, are influenced by business leaders. Most practical business leaders are rarely held accountable for moral, social, or environmental failures. There are two sides of a business leader. They must be in good governance. Here's why. Good governance is a critical component in ensuring a company's integrity and effectiveness. While poor governance can limit a company's potential, cause financial issues, and in some situations, harm the company's reputation in the long run. A corporation that follows the principles of good governance will typically outperform its competitors and be able to attract investors who can help fund future expansions. In this situation, we can say that if a government or organization has a good governance or management skills, people, especially investors, tend to have a partnership with them. So now, let's talk about the key principles of good governance: the accountability, fairness, and transparency. First, accountability. Accountability is the act of justifying and explaining one's actions. Accountability involves responsibility. It is only fair to hold someone accountable for what they are responsible for. The requirement and responsibility to provide an explanation for rationale for the company's acts and conduct is referred to as accountability. In addition, accountability is the acceptance of responsibility for one's own actions. It implies a willingness to be transparent, allowing others to observe and evaluate one's performance. It is particularly relevant to the accounting practices that the company adopts when it prepares the financial reports that are submitted to shareholders and the government. Without checks, balances, and consequence for wrongdoing, a company cannot retain the confidence of its customers, regulators, or the markets. Without effective accountability systems, a business or organization is vulnerable to suspicions of mismanagement and power abuse. Worst of all, it would deny its full legitimacy and respect from its partners, especially the youth career with whom it seeks to encourage in engagement. Being responsible is having to explain or justify one's actions and decisions. Examples of accountability. Suppose that the printer is not working. Call the mechanic to repair it instead of complaining that it's not working. This demonstrates leadership and shows that you hold yourself accountable. When you see problems, try finding solutions instead of complaining. Scenario number 2. Suppose you and your team feel the lunch hours are too short to ensure productivity. Instead of complaining about it, you could take charge and communicate with your superior. You'll help increase productivity at the workplace as your workmates will be happier. Number 2. Fairness. It involves the interest involved in all decision making, including any decisions related to hiring, firing, includes the investigatory process, and the compensation and reward system in an organization. So in this type of principle, it talks about that as an employer, you should treat your employees fairly or equally. Number 2, fairness has to do with justice, which is to give to another that which is due to him or her. So first, what is justice? Looks at the balance of benefits and burdens distributed among members of a group and/or can result from the application of rules, policies, or laws that apply to a society or a group. Examples of fairness. Scenario number 1. A business which makes new homes for people should inform them about the actual area, electrical and water supply, property taxes, and give what has been promised at the time of buying the house. Number 2. Two employees do a quarrel and you need to know what happened. You should listen to them first. Listening is one of the most easiest way to make your employees feel valued and promote fairness in the workplace. By knowing you care about their opinions, your employees will feel important and respected. Be consistent in your listening. Don't listen to some employees and not others so that you maintain trust with all employees. And lastly, transparency. It means openness, a willingness by the company to provide clear information to shareholders and other stakeholders. For example, transparency refers to the openness and willingness to disclose financial performance figures which are truthful and accurate. In this type of principle, you should always remember that you are always be honest and open for any information or details that you're putting, especially in financial management. You should be open in giving the feedback and reports to your employer. Number 2, transparency means openness, a willingness by the company to provide clear information to shareholders and other stakeholders. The stakeholders should be informed about the company's activities, what it plans to do in the future, and any risks involved in business strategies. So it talks about that every plan or blueprint you are creating, you should tell it to your shareholders. Examples of transparency. Scenario number 1. Investors think about transparency in terms of how readily they can access financial information about the company, including its price levels and audited financial reports. Investors must be able to trust that your organization produces financial reports that are informative, accurate, and independently audited, so that the investors will give the trust they have to you. Scenario number 2. Customers want to see transparency from the businesses where they choose to spend their money. To achieve transparency with its customer, businesses should respond to customer inquiries and feedback in an honest and timely fashion and increase the accessibility of information about their products and services. Transparency also means admitting to mistakes instead of trying to cover them up, and working to make things right with customers. When executed well, transparency with customers results in elevated brand loyalty, increased sales, and stronger employee satisfaction. Always remember, giving transparency will show that you are trustworthy. Thank you for listening.